Hey, Garden Fam. I hope you are doing well and having a wonderful day. God just dropped this in my spirit and I wanted to share it with you. I'm recording it right now, not sure when I will actually post it, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, whenever the Lord says to do it. But he just dropped this in my spirit, and it's about this idea of barrenness versus Kairos. And I've heard other people preach about this in various aspects. God just kind of walked me through various stories in the Bible where we see women who thought they were barren, who seemed to be barren, who had not given birth to any child as of yet, and it seemed as though it was not possible for them. But then we see that when they do give birth, because it does ultimately happen, that they give birth to destiny, like something so big, something so important, something that is a game changer. And I say something, but someone, but I'm saying something because for some of us, it may not be just a specific child, but it may be, a business or a ministry or whatever it may be. But going with this theme and this idea of barrenness versus Kairos, from these women's perspective, they thought that they were barren. But if we look and reflect on their stories, what really happened, and this glares on my glasses, but what really happened was that there was an appointed time for them to give birth because of what they would be giving birth to, who they would be giving birth to, needed to be birthed at a specific time. And so, who are we talking about? One person talked about her before on this channel, and that is Hannah. Hannah was, had a husband. She had a beautiful life. Her husband loved her so dearly. Her husband ended up marrying a second wife and everything so that he could have children through her. That second wife ended up tormenting her and teasing her and just taunting her about the fact that, Hannah did not yet have children. But at the time, again, Hannah was thinking, I'm barren, like I'm not going to have children at all. I think she tried for about 10 years or something like that. And so we see later that when she does end up giving birth, she gives birth to Samuel, the first known prophet of Israel. That is a major destiny. That's a major game changer. That was major for a specific and definitely appointed for a specific time. Okay. And then we also see Sarah. Sarah was before, but either way, we see Sarah. Sarah again thought she was barren, but later came this promise from God that she would give birth to a child as well. She, kind of like Hannah, and she and her husband thought, God said this promise was coming, maybe we got to help him out. So Abraham ended up taking a second wife as well, who gave birth to a son, but this still wasn't the actual son of promise, the son of destiny. And when Sarah did finally give birth at the appointed time, she gave birth to Isaac, who was the beginning of that fulfillment of God's promise to Abraham that he would make him a great nation. Again, she gave birth to destiny. She seemed, and to her it felt like she was barren, but we see that it was because her giving birth was for an appointed time. And then we see Elizabeth in the New Testament, the one who her husband was a priest. It says that they were both righteous. It says they both live by God's standards and everything, everything that would outwardly seem to appear that they should have a child by now because God was well pleased with them, but they did not. And so Elizabeth and her husband seemingly, kind of just accepted, like maybe we just won't have a child. But, the Lord came and let them know that they would give birth to a child. And that child ended up being John the Baptist, the one that was meant to lead the way for Jesus's coming, which is wonderful. Elizabeth was Mary's cousin, which is very cool. And so she got to, kind of mentor and be with Mary through her pregnancy and, just have that connection with Mary. But she gave birth to destiny as well. And so to kind of wrap this all up and give the, ultimate key point here, sometimes we're not barren. Sometimes it's not that we aren't meant to give birth to something. Sometimes it's not that our wombs don't work and that they're cut off, that they're shut off, or maybe that they are, but they're shut off only for, an appointed time for us to give birth to the child, the thing, the destiny that God has already outlined for us long ago. And so just wanted to encourage someone with that you are likely not barren, sis. I almost say that with assurance that you are not barren because, God established it from long ago for us to be fruitful and to multiply. And so if you are barren in this season, if you feel like you've been barren for a long time, it is likely because there is an appointed time for you to give birth. Now, I will say we do know that there are times when, sin or other things may delay our promises, or, may cause us to get off track with God's timing for things. But that is not what we're talking about here. All of these women were women who love God, who serve God, who, honored God, and still, again, experience that barrenness. But if that is you, you're not barren. You are appointed to give birth at a specific time. And so remain encouraged and just know that when that time comes, you are giving birth to something big, something that is a game changer, something that God is going to ultimately, operate through in purpose. And so, yeah, you're going to give birth to destiny. And so I love you. Have a healthy and wholesome day, and I will talk to you soon, God willing.